got the craziest game of the year last night, sports fans. One look at the game flow tells you how much of a roller coaster we were all on, with lots of intrigue leading up to the best in-game dunk over a center I've seen in a long while. And this should have been the exclamation point on a long 24-3 run that won the game for the Nuggets. How did it happen? The defense had been ignoring Russ all game as Conley gets in Jokic's path, inviting the kick out. But watch Alexander Walker, he gets completely spun around way too close to Russ, allowing the one more pass. Now, Braun does a good job to lift both feet and then attack on the catch to take advantage of Alexander Walker's terrible position. Credit to Rudy for even trying to stop a good leaper with a full head of steam, and getting dunked on is part of his job description when he's not blocking the shot. You know it's serious when they're knocking assistant coaches out of the way. It's a two-hander with a little bring it back. Great defense without fouling by Rudy, and the hammer on the way down. Whoa. Now Braun deserves a little celebration, but he drifted too far into Rudy's space. Luckily, Rudy doesn't know how to throw a punch. He kinda hugs him first, but then he shoves him by the neck. Check his reaction when he sees Russ running at him. I believe the phrase is "no merci," and the refs correctly call offsetting penalties. Taunting from Braun and the illegal contact from Gobert. Play on. The score doesn't change for a few possessions, and all the air has been let out of the building, as I'm sure everyone thought the Nuggets would control this game and win. Watch how Jokic suckers Rudy by slipping the screen for Gordon and catching Rudy 2 steps behind, forced to foul and give up 2 free throws, as Russ is feeling good about this, and the lead gets bumped to 10 with 4 minutes to go. First mistake, Russ allows Conley to roll the ball up. Neither game clock or shot clock runs after a made free throw, and this allows the Wolves to save precious seconds. The ball screen on the wing gives the Wolves a look at a possible mismatch for Anthony Edwards, but good recovery by Braun. The closeout to the corner isn't terrible as Jokic can support, but watch Gordon lose sight of where his man Randall is. Forcing Porter to handle that big a load is too much to ask on the nice turnaround. Rudy again gets beat over the top by Jokic, which collapses the defense, allowing the beautiful behind-the-back pass to Gordon, who hits the easy turnaround. You always have to be worried about Ant exploding, especially since he hadn't even taken a shot in the fourth quarter yet. But look at this awful spacing the Wolves get into, allowing Russ to hang on the weak side as a quarterback. Braun signals to him to get Alexander Walker so he can load up to Ant. The cut by Randall occupies Russ, and now Braun is stuck helping too far from one pass away. He even gets there to contest, but simply cannot be the first jumper in the air as he's faked out, and Walker Alexander can cold swish this to begin the comeback. Here's where it gets hilarious. Jokic is known for his incredible basketball IQ, being able to get valuable seconds to run off the clock without touching the ball. Because this is after a made field goal, the clock does run until the last 2 minutes of the game. But Russ has no idea, and Jokic literally has to push him away from the ball. Credit to Alexander Walker to hustle over there to prevent any extra time, and we're getting to that point where the Nuggets can ice the game with another score. Here is the issue with Russ on this team. Because he's simply not a threat from the three-point line, most ball screens should be nullified by his defender going underneath. And if you can't gain an advantage running the one play designed to get that advantage, then it's a real drag on the offense as it can stagnate real quick and they can lure him into outside shooting. And Russ has struggled so badly in this action that going forward, you shouldn't see any defender close to him when the ball screener comes up. So it made zero sense for Alexander Walker to be this close to him on the left wing. Rudy overhelps despite Alexander Walker's hustle, causing a very long closeout, but because Russ doesn't cut out of there, Alexander Walker has no issue ignoring him and his broken jumper to reach in and cause a steal that directly leads to 2 more points when they have no choice but to foul him in the open court to prevent the layup. Rudy is also a non-factor offensively, save for lobs and putbacks, but the Wolves know they can use him in certain ways, like a blind flare screen. Braun should have gone over the top of this to chase. Jokic is in position to help, but instead Alexander Walker is cash, and now the Nuggets are getting nervous because they simply don't shoot many threes, and they don't shoot them well when they do take them. I understand why they screen for Jokic, trying to force a switch of Conley onto him, but the Nuggets royally screw up their spacing. If Jamal Murray was in, you can bet he'd be at the top of the key. With Russ in, he wanders down to the dunker spot as far from the action as possible. Just so it's clear how much a drag Russ is on the offense, look at his season on-off splits for offensive rating. I don't think you'll see any other rotational player have this big a drop-off offensively, and it's a significant reason why this Denver offense is the lowest it's been by far in the Jokic era. Westbrook's position allows Conley to spring a quick double on Jokic without a proper outlet. and Jokic makes a terrible mistake by getting in the air to pass. Now it's time to look to their MVP, and Denver wants to switch this because it's the same size screener as ball handler. It's not a bad switch, but Russ could have maybe gotten a step or two closer to offer more resistance, as Ant continues to show how the 3-ball is the biggest advantage in the NBA. Russ really gets the treatment, as they completely ignore him on this cut to pressure the ball, forcing Randle to step down and opening up the 3 for hot shooting Gordon, who can't hit it, but Russ knows if he can't help offensively with the ball, he can create an extra possession with this great offensive rebound. But as Russ does, he ruins it by trying a high crossover right into the defender's hand before knocking it out of bounds himself. And it gets even worse as he tries to insist it wasn't off of him, even wanting a review. But dear Lord, he knows it's off him, and luckily they're out of challenges, or it would have been even more embarrassing. They get another shot at it, and this makes zero sense to me. If you're the defense, you want the ball out of Jokic's hands, so why are you denying Russ the ball at the half-court line? I think the idea to force Randle onto Jokic is a good one, and this isn't a terrible shot, but they get saved by the Gordon offensive rebound. You'll have to explain why Porter Jr. does not throw the ball to Jokic under the basket with Randle pinned behind him. Excellent help from Randle to coax the miss from Braun, and now Edwards has MPJ on him. It was right here when Braun should have kicked him out of there and guarded Ant himself, but instead they just clear the floor and smartly let Edwards cook on an island with shooters on the weak side that can't be helped off of. I'm still shocked Denver didn't send a second defender at this, so Edwards goes by him like he's not there for the little floater. When you're down, you have to get the best shot you can as quickly as possible. It takes them 6 seconds to get it to Jokic, and if you have Russ throw it to him, of course they're going to ignore him to double. They had a double flare screen set up for MPJ. Was he open? Yeah, but Russ puts the ball on the floor immediately and then can't throw that pass. Having been stripped already, Jokic picks his dribble up early, ruining the advantage he created. And explain to me where Russ is going. He's cutting directly into the path of the action, and now all 5 Nuggets are on the same side. Braun meets the Stifle Tower and can't finish. Is this a foul by Rudy? It sure is. Despite verticality with his body, his right arm is angled forward and makes illegal contact with Braun's right wrist. Tough missed call, but give Rudy credit for nailing both free throws with a slightly awkward form. Now check assistant Micah Nori. He seems to be telling head coach Chris Finch to take the foul up by 3, and Finch turns to tell his team, I think. But either the team ignores him or doesn't hear it or doesn't get it, but it's a mistake. They're in perfect position to eliminate any chance of tying it, even if the Nuggets don't have any timeouts. But the Nuggets don't do themselves any favors. You do not set the screen with Russ's man. You set it with a shooter who can pop out, putting maximum pressure on the defense. Instead, good contest by Rudy, Jokic isn't even close, and the Wolves steal a win on their home court. This is a brutal loss for the Nuggets, but understandable considering Jamal Murray got knocked out early in the third. But if they don't do something to shore up their bench and get better play out of everyone not named Jokic, making the playoffs is going to be a little bit of a struggle. The Wolves also make me a little nervous, but I think it's more about getting comfortable with the new starting power forward, although I'd like to see smarter play all around. I know I can't wait till January 25th for their next game. Let's hope we get another epic but cleaner finish.